This is a tutorial on how to use the Screenplay Formatter add-on within Google Docs. You know many ways probably to create a new Google Doc. If you don't know how to do that, I will help you, but I'm going to assume everybody knows how to do it. First thing you should do is title your document, New Screenplay Formatter Doc. I'm going to title that for now so I know what it is. Normally in a script, we do not do this. There's an actual title page, but for the purposes of our assignments, go ahead and center in all capital letters. We will put your title by James, your name. So the title should not say title. It should say whatever the project is, skeptic, let's say. Okay, and then when you're done, go ahead and skip a line. On that note, by the way, make sure that your format, click on Format up at the top next to File, Edit, View, Insert, Format, 4 things down, line spacing. Make sure it's not set to double or 1.5. I like 1.15. You could do single as well. That's single. There's a slight difference. I'm going to undo that. I also prefer if you would use an easily readable font. Arial is the best. You can use that. Courier New is good. Times New Roman is good. But I always use Arial. It's really simple and it usually defaults to Arial, at least for me. And font size no smaller than 11. 12 is great as well. So we have that. We've skipped a line. Go ahead and set it on the left side now. If you don't already have the add-on, the add-ons is right here, File, Edit, Format, Tools, Add-ons. We're going to click on Get Add-ons and then search your apps for Screenplay Formatter. It pops up there and I click on that, and I could click on the Screenplay Formatter right here to install that. I've already installed mine. I'm going to close that. We have our add-on. You have your add-on now. Click on Add-ons, Screenplay Formatter, Launch. It pops up on the right side over here. The very top section has 5 different buttons that you can use to easily format your script: header, action, speaker, parentheses, dialogue. I guess I misspelled parentheses the other day. And down here is transitions, fade in, cut to. We didn't talk about fade out. And special formatting, we're just going to ignore for now. We'll look at that in future assignments. But these are all your buttons. You just need to click on them to use them. So we're starting at the top of your script. I ask you to do fade in all capital letters with a colon afterward. If I click over here under transitions, I click on fade in. It pops those dialogue, that pops that in here in all capital letters with the colon. You didn't have to type a thing. But notice that the colon, the cursor is flashing to the left of fade in. This is throughout the program. It would be nice if they fixed this, but hey, they did a great job. That saved us time. So here's one thing you have to deal with. The cursor's on the left of fade in. You need, if you don't do anything and you press return, you're just going to keep moving that down. So you need to click to the right of that colon to reset your cursor. And we are going to call this as an element. I'm going to reuse this word many times. The element that we're using here is the header, the fade in transition element. We're going to skip a line before we do the next element, which is the header. Now the header you'll see in a second. When I say header, that's the header for your scene, has that interior exterior location time. It will convert all lowercase to uppercase for you. So I'm going to show you that using all lowercase. However, what you do need to know is you will need to use your period after int or ext, and you will need to add your hyphen. So I will talk through that. I'm going to make this an interior location. Once I choose a location, interior, I put a period, space. I used the term place the other day. Location is the same thing. I'm going to do living room. Then I have to set the hyphen myself. So I do space, hyphen, space. And time, day, afternoon, night. There's other things you can use, but for this assignment, we're only using one of those 3. So now I've done that in all lowercase, and it was going to convert to uppercase when I click Create Header. There it is. The cursor is at the beginning of this element. I need to set it at the end. And this element, again, is a header. I hit Return twice on my keyboard to skip a line before I start the next element, which is going to be action. Action, I use the term narration. Here it's called action. Great. So I click on that and it's in here, and we start typing like we normally type when we're doing an assignment for an English class or a history class, an essay, where we do uppercase, lowercase, meaning the beginning of the word, the beginning of the sentence is uppercase. And we'll say Mr. M, or I'll be more specific, we'll do James Magadman. There's something a little bit different we'll get into later about the first time you introduce a character. Normally, you have that new character thing, special formatting. It'll be all capitalized, but I'm going to skip that for now, not to confuse you. Stick to basic. Mr. M, a teacher in his late 40s, dressed in a t-shirt and jeans, sits next to his wife, also a teacher, beautiful and far more intelligent than her husband. See how I cater to my wife? Okay, we've created our narration. Actually, I should put a t-shirt hyphen. It tells me something's wrong, so I fix that. There we go. We're now going to the next element. So since this is an element, the action element, I'm going to press return twice on my keyboard. Now I'm going to create a speaker. A speaker is the character's name. I click on speaker, and again, it will convert lowercase to uppercase, so I'll show you that done. I'll type in all lowercase. You don't have to do a full name, but I'm just doing it so you can see. Create speaker, pops open. I have to move the cursor to the end of the sentence, and I'm going to go to the next line. The character and the dialogue are considered one element. So I've had speaker there without hitting return again. I keep it on that very next line. I click on dialogue. It resets the margin tab, and then I can type, I am so incredibly tired of grading. I bet my students are tired of doing homework. Okay, now I want my wife to talk. This is one element. My wife talking, her name and dialogue will be a new element. So I need to do I need to skip a line. Again, hit speaker. I'm going to type my wife's name, and on this time, instead of doing all lowercase, I'll type it how you would see it properly formatted if you were typing a paragraph. And create speaker. Again, it changes it to all capital letters because that's how this is formatted. I click the cursor, put it at the end, go to the next line. I have to click dialogue before I start typing, and I say, and she says, now you understand how hard it is to be a teacher. Skip a line, I go back to action. James throws his computer. I want you to remember that all action is in the now, it's current. I didn't say James threw his computer, James will throw his computer, James has thrown his computer, it's now. James throws his computer right now. And I skip 2 lines and I go back and I create the speaker and I type in James Magadman, and I type it all wrong and skewy. Again, it will capitalize everything. I click on the end of the element. I want to do parentheses now. Okay, I'm going to do a parenthetical. Even though it sets the margin, you have to do the parentheses yourself. So Shift 9 does the left side parentheses, and I type laughs, and then the end parentheses. I go to the next line and I click dialogue, and I say work done. And then I want a final element, usually a script before the end of the scene. Most of the time, producers, directors, they want you to end with an action. James leaves. Okay. Boom, it's all done. And then I want to finalize with my final transition of fade out. You can also use cut to, but right now, stick to fade out. When we talked about this, we had our fade in and fade out on the bottom left side. Remember, as I said, there's no hard set rules. There's just kind of generalities. So this program does it on the right side. That's great. I've seen it done in all different ways. So just leave it as is. That's great. This is the end of it. That's what you have to do to understand how this screenplay formatter works. Thank you for listening, I guess. The end.